Hello, friends. Although I can't prove it in any way, shape, or form, I want to say that as the matrix is collapsing, it's making way for something very beautiful, for something very different. And for those people who are not aware of that, it's because they're not connected or tuned in to their heart, to what they know inside as heart wisdom, soul knowing. It's in every single one of us. The problem is that we're not going here to learn what is actually going on besides the collapse. And when you go there, you will realize it's really beautiful because you'll know that you want to live more from your heart. You want to have more love and peace in the world. You don't want wars anymore. You want us just to find a beautiful way to enjoy this gorgeous planet that we live on. And she is gorgeous. She's beautiful. And the beauty that we all see there and feel there, especially when we go out in nature, it's something like, oh my God, it just touches something inside. And we need to pay attention to that. That is not something you should say, yeah, no, but you look at the world, look at the problems, look at the mess. I mean, you can look at it for a little bit, but not too long, because then you keep missing out on this. And that is the invitation every single day when I'm up here in my little YouTube channel. That is the invitation, and there is no other way to get out of this mess and chaos that we're seeing in the world. There is no other, there might be ways to change it and to have a different experience, but there is no solution in it. No solution, ever, ever, never. It doesn't exist there. We are the walking solutions for the new earth to take birth, for the new energies to ground themselves in this dimension. And if I can do my little share, I will just keep inviting anybody who's shows up on my channel or works with me. It is just to keep coming back and feel what you really long for, what you really want, what you really desire. Desire, as I have shared before, if you look at the words desire, D means from, and sire is, it's a stallion, it's the male horse that is the father to all the babies coming, the foals. It's also, sire is always also king, right? That's the word that has been used for. And of course, it is also the divine. So desire is literally coming from the divine, telling you and I, this is where you need to go if you want to experience my kingdom, heaven on earth, the divine kingdom. You must go here. You cannot create it by fighting out there, by taking sides, making other people wrong. I always talk about this, but I hope that more and more people really realize at the deep core level that that's the answer is not out there. If you spend a lot of time following the news, and it's rightly so, it's okay to follow it. It's good to know what's happening, but do not get too attached or identified with it, believing it. Don't believe it. It's just all crumbling. It's like when you have a what's that called? If you have a zit, for instance, right? And then it pops, and then there's all this goo coming out. and or boil and they're bigger, there's a lot of goo coming out. You don't need to go in there and say, "Oh, you're bad and that shouldn't be here and it's your fault." That's basically what's happening in the world with many, many people. They all have all these opinions about, how the goo is and what's wrong with the goo and what's right with the goo. Let the goo come out. Let it ooze out as you're seeing the matrix collapsing. And then when the goo comes out of a boil or a zit, right, then healing happens. And then there's beautiful, smooth skin again, wherever that thing showed up. It's going to be like that too. This may take a little longer to ooze out. So that's why we need to be patient and loving with ourselves and loving with the transformation that's happening out there. All the old bad stuff is going to go out. It's just, I mean, even calling it bad is probably a mistake, but it's just all this pus and all this stuff that's been, you know, bundled up inside, and it's just come to its healing now. It's popped, right? The boil has popped. It's coming out. Let it come out. Send it a little love if you want, put some healing balm on it if that is what you want, just to maybe help the healing. But let it do its thing. It knows. Have you noticed your body knows how to heal when you give it the right circumstances? So let's give it the right circumstances in the world, and let's just hold like a space of presence in ourselves so that we are the solution to what's happening out there. And the more of us do that by literally walking around as the solution, then things might speed up. I don't know if it will, but it's a nice idea. And then the new beautiful experience that we're all longing for here, right? You don't long for something here. It's a feeling. You can feel it here. It's like, oh, I want peace, and oh, I want to feel love, and I want to feel loved. So you feel that here and you just stay there. You're staying in the energy of that feeling so that you become it. And then you don't need to go out there and create it. You become it. And the more you become it, the more you allow that to seep into, that's the new seeping, that is seeping into the world. So that's where the healing and the transformation is happening all on its own. If we need to put our hands on something out there, this movement will naturally show it, because you will feel like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then you just go with that. And it can look in any way it does. There's no one way, there's no right way. So I'm really, I really want to reach those of you who resonate with this. And I just want to say, you can trust this. Trust your longing. Trust what you really want from deep down in your soul, in your heart. Excuse me. Trust that. You can trust it. It is the only thing you really can trust. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily cut off from your intelligence. No, they can work in unison, but do not cut off your heart's wisdom. It is more needed than anything out there. It's the heart wisdom is so different than the mind's fear and survival energy. That's what we do. We go and we try and figure it out. How am I going to survive? How this all going to work out? And there's a lot of fear, because that's happening in the mind, which is the dualistic mind, where there is war and peace. There's all the duality. So you keep flip-flopping, right? You don't want war, you want peace. So you're in that, how am I going to create that? Well, the creation is already inside each one of us because we long for it. So that is the heart's wisdom that few people trust. There is definitely a growing trust in heart intelligence. There's the Heart Math Institute that you may have heard about, which is, by the way, just a few miles up in the mountains where I live. And that, so it is growing where people learn to trust their heart, their wisdom in their heart. And it is true wisdom. um, it's not just something that's made up. I know that scientists, they can actually measure things, and I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to say a lot about it, but I'm more like a sense. I sense things. I don't need science to confirm what I sense, although I do enjoy it. But a lot of the things that are coming out, it's like it's something I have sensed for a long time. And I go like, finally, they're actually able to accept that as the truth. And I would imagine that you also have some of that, where for a long time you have known this is not right or something off. I can trust this, but then there is nobody out there confirming it for you, and then you go like, oh, is it true? Now you can trust your heart. Maybe you just need to learn the language a little more, so when you can really trust it, or when your mind is coming in to maybe make you doubt it because people tell you to, or whatever it is. But generally, your heart, when you really learn the wisdom of the heart, you can totally trust it. And it is a beautiful process. Like in my own process, there was, I started feeling it this many years. This is going on for a long time. And then I wasn't sure, can I trust it? And then more and more, it's just the most natural thing. There's nothing else that would make sense to trust, believe it or not. So if there are things out in the world that tell this is so and so, this is what it is true, then I will just check here. It's like, I'm not so sure if that's true. Or yeah, that I can feel. And that's why instead of just listening to what is we're being told out there, we can go in here and let it run by that and by our heart. And that is the new earth where we start living from our heart's wisdom, our heart's intelligence. We start trusting it, and then we bring it. We are it. We don't deny it anymore. But as we walk around in the world, we're just that. And for some strange reason, you just know things. Things are just obvious. Or if you're talking with somebody, or in my case, if I work with clients, there's just a knowing what's going on, what's needed. I'm not trying to figure it out. It's just here. It's right here. And then I can help my clients, or help them become aware of something that may not be so obvious or needed to be pointed out. So let the matrix collapse. Do your best to just let it be, let it collapse. Don't try and, if it's all crumbling, don't try and piece it back together. It has lived its course, but now it's the time for the heart. And that is the new world that we all long for. And I say, let's rejoice, because it is beautiful, and it's going to be beautiful as more and more of us live that. So it's not necessarily coming in, it's just we become it more because we make ourselves available for it. So please join this amazing new energy coming in. Get familiar with it, make it your friend, start trusting it, share with other people who are on the same wavelength, share it, and it becomes much more alive, even more real. I have that too when I talk to some of my friends. We're also experiencing that. We're both like, yay! There's that sweet, energetic confirmation. And I think we all need that. All right. I will meet you in the field of the new paradigm. And we don't necessarily need YouTubes or technology for that, although it's handy for sure. But we can also start just tuning in together. And then we become more one with that which is already here. All right. Have a good day.